That's right, he told his friend George. Did Luke eat some eggs or tell his friend George? He told his friend George. Who told his friend George? Did Luke's brother Stanley tell George? No, it wasn't Stanley. Did Luke tell George? Yes, he did. Luke told George. Who did Luke tell? Did he tell his mother? No, he didn't tell his mother. Did he tell George? Yes, that's correct. He told George. What did Luke tell George? Did he tell him the score of the football game? No, that's not what he told him. Did he tell him that he can eat 50 eggs in 1 hour? He certainly did. That's what he told him. Did Luke tell George that he can eat 50 eggs in 1 hour? Yes, he did. That's what he told his friend George. George thought this seemed far-fetched. Did George think this seemed far-fetched? Yes, he did. George thought this seemed far-fetched. What did George think? Did he think that it was going to rain? No, George didn't think it was going to rain. Did he think that it seemed far-fetched? Yes, he did. He thought it seemed far-fetched. Did he think that it seemed believable? No, he didn't think that it seemed believable. Far-fetched does not mean believable. Did he think that it seemed unbelievable? Yes, he did. George thought that this seemed far-fetched, which is the same thing as saying that he thought that it seemed unbelievable. What did George think was far-fetched? Did he think that Luke being able to eat 50 eggs in 1 hour was far-fetched? Yes, that's correct. That's what he thought was far-fetched or unbelievable. Did George think that Luke could eat 50 eggs in 1 hour? No, he didn't. He thought that it seemed far-fetched or unbelievable. Who thought that it seemed far-fetched? Did Luke think that it seemed far-fetched? No, Luke didn't think it seemed far-fetched. Did George think that it seemed far-fetched? Yes, he did. George thought this seemed far-fetched. Did George think that it seemed unbelievable? Yes, he did. He thought it seemed far-fetched, or he thought it seemed unbelievable. Far-fetched means unbelievable. He thought that Luke was pulling his leg. Did he think that Luke was pulling his leg? Yes, he did. He thought that Luke was pulling his leg. What did he think Luke was doing? Pulling his leg. He thought that Luke was pulling his leg. Did he think that Luke was pulling his leg or biting his hand? Pulling his leg. He thought that Luke was pulling his leg. Did he think that Luke was pulling his leg? Yes, he did. He thought that Luke was pulling his leg. Did he think that Luke was making a joke by lying to him and pretending that the lie was true? Yes. Yes, he did. When someone is said to be pulling your leg, that person is making a joke by lying to you and pretending that the lie was true. So that's what he thought Luke was doing. Who thought that Luke was pulling his leg? Did George or Leo think that Luke was pulling his leg? George. George thought that Luke was pulling his leg. Did George think that Luke was pulling his leg? Yes, he did. He thought that Luke was pulling his leg. Who did he think was pulling his leg? Did he think that Luke's mother was pulling his leg? No, he didn't think Luke's mother was doing it. Did he think that Luke was pulling his leg? Yes, Luke. He thought Luke was pulling his leg. Did George think that Luke was making a joke by lying to him and pretending that the lie was true? Yes, he did. He thought that Luke was making a joke by lying to him and pretending that the lie was true, which is the same as saying he thought that Luke was pulling his leg. "You've got to be kidding," he said to Luke. Did he tell Luke that he's got to be kidding? Yes, that's exactly what he said. He said to Luke, "You've got to be kidding." Did he tell Luke that he cannot be serious? Yes, he did. He said, "You've got to be kidding," which is the same thing as saying you cannot be serious. Who told Luke he's got to be kidding? Did Stanley tell him? No, it wasn't Stanley. Did George tell Luke he's got to be kidding? Yes, that's correct. George told Luke he's got to be kidding. Did George tell Luke that he cannot be serious? Yes, he did. Remember, "you've got to be kidding" is the same thing as saying you can't be serious. Why does George think that Luke has got to be kidding? Well, he does not think that Luke can eat 50 eggs in 1 hour. Does George think that Luke can eat 50 eggs in 1 hour? No, he doesn't. He said to him, "You've got to be kidding," which means he did not think that what Luke said was true. And Luke had told him that he can eat 50 eggs in 1 hour. And then that's when George said, "You've got to be kidding." So Luke bet George $100 that he can eat 50 eggs in 1 hour. Did Luke bet George $100 that he can eat 50 eggs in 1 hour? Yes, he did. Luke bet George $100 that he can eat 50 eggs in 1 hour. Okay, so what did Luke do? Well, he bet George $100 that he can eat 50 eggs in 1 hour. Who bet George $100? Did Luke or Stanley bet George? Luke did. Luke bet George. Did Stanley bet George? No, Stanley didn't bet.